Bases dropped on a new edition of Soccer Down here. It's a Wednesday. It's a match day Wednesday. It is a wall pass Wednesday, which means we'll take your questions. We'll give you answers. A little 1-2 that we're looking for at the spearhead of Atlanta United's attack. We'll try to deliver that for you today. So you can tweet at us at Soccer Down here. You can join us on the Twitch pitch, twitch.tv/Soccer Down here. You can also email us, soccerdownhere@gmail.com. All kinds of stuff. I missed it, Captain Ragamuffin. I guess there was a Cinnamon Toast Crunch ad on the Twitch, and that would have made me hungry, too.
Wow.
That's my favorite. Man, craziness. At least they're targeting our ads correctly with Twitch, because
yes.
I would have chosen that one if I had a list to pick from. That's awesome. All right, this is going to be a slam-packed show because there's a lot of MLS games tonight. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. We've got fantasy teams to help you get set. We've got juice boxes to talk through. We've got some news around the world as well. Copa Libertadores last night had some insanity, as it always does. Some wild results. We'll get you updated there. We'll get you caught up on everything out of Europe as well. John, where do you want to start today?
Really, really quickly with a Walpassian kind of a question, and it came from Tafka overnight.
Walpassian?
It's an adjective. The adjective for Walpass would be Walpassish? Walpassian?
Sure.
I was trying to figure out something on the fly.
Okay.
Tafka, non-soccer question. What's the best Nick Cage movie? Yeah, I know the question's a bit of an oxymoron, but that's the point. I say it's a toss-up between Gone in 60 Seconds and The Rock, with a respectable third-place award to National Treasure.
Okay.
Here's my 5 to help you out.
All right.
Raising Arizona. This is in no order.
Okay.
Raising Arizona. Peggy Sue Got Married. Con Air. Moonstruck. National Treasure. Those are my top 5.
All right. I'm not a movie guy, so y'all can have your fun with that all you want.
And they have. We've got a bunch of movies that have been thrown into the rotation here.
No, I'm saying I'm not a movie guy. Like I'm not like watching every movie. I don't go nuts for movies, so I am not going to have as deep of a list here. I'm going to double check and make sure that I'm not forgetting anything. Raising Arizona would be on my list. That's a good flick. It's been a long time since I've seen that.
I needs me a toddler.
I think my favorite, and it's not a good movie, but it was an entertaining movie. You know, one of those that you would never say was a great piece of cinema, but you enjoyed watching it. I saw it in the theater. Face Off was fun.
Face Off has gotten some mileage on the
ridiculous, but stupid kind of fun. I'll actually put Leaving Las Vegas as his best.
Yes.
Don't watch it if you are in any way sad about anything, because it is incredibly depressing.
Yes.
But he's amazing in it. So I'll put that as his best piece of work. Face Off as his most stupid fun, and I'll put Raising Arizona on the list too.
Yeah, Leaving Las Vegas, definitely. Adaptation.
I knew there was something that I was trying to think of, and Leaving Las Vegas was the one that I couldn't remember.
Matchstick Men is on here as a part of the discussion, so those seem to be the ones that Face Off is getting a lot of check marks here in the timeline. So.
It's not good. It's a stupid, like, fun comic book, ridiculous pile of nonsense. But I enjoyed it in the theater, so it gets on the list, I guess. Uncle No Pockets does have maybe a little harsh here. Nick Cage is terrible. Wow. I mean, is he a thespian of the highest order? No, he's not.
You just have to understand that
he had a run, though.
The Nick Cage movie is just going to be over in a certain spot on the shelf.
He had a run. No, that's not fair, because Leaving Las Vegas is really good, and he's really good in that.
And Elizabeth Shue in that movie was tremendous.
Yeah, they both had a great performance in that. But he had a run. He had a run of a lot of big
Family
movies. Man. I don't know that one.
That's with Taya Leone. It's a really good one.
Don't know that one at all. he had a run of a lot of movies. He made a lot of money. He was the hot guy there for a couple of years, maybe longer than that. That's probably not giving him enough credit. He was the box office guy there for a little while. Good for him. He's done his thing, and it's all good.
Yep. But yeah, folks have been going berserk in the timeline.
Crazy.
Since that got...
All right, Tafka.
Yeah.
Well, you came up with the random question of the day. Good for you.
Yes.
Thumbs up.
Yes. So you want to go over last night before we come into today and talk about Libertadores?
Yeah, we can jump into Libertadores from last night. We talked a lot about Flamengo and how they were bringing in like kids on a charter plane that I think actually didn't make it. I think the academy players didn't make it. They got stuck in Manaus. It didn't matter. They won. They won in Barcelona, in Ecuador over Barcelona. Got out to a lead, held on to it. They are at the top of their group along with Independiente del Valle, who lost big in Colombia last night. Both teams were resting some players, and both teams are dealing with league competition. Colombia just got restarted. Ecuador's been going on for a little while. Independiente got the early goal, but then Junior, their 36-year-old forward, Carmelo Alvarez, he busted forward and got a hat trick, so they win 4-1. That puts Junior in third place in the group on 6, Flamengo and IDV on 9, and Independiente del Valle goes to Brazil to play Flamengo next week, and Flamengo will be looking for their revenge for the 5-0 thrashing last week. River won big in Peru over Binacional, no surprise there. And probably the biggest news is Nacional. They clinched their spot in the knockout round, the first team to do so. They went to Venezuela and beat Estudiantes de Merida. So that's where we're at. Bunch of games today in the Libertadores. I am sad I'll be missing them live, but I will be keeping up with scores, and I will be checking out highlights when I get back tonight. We've got at the 6:15 time slot, Caracas FC hosting Libertad. That is Tito Villalba's team headed to Venezuela to face Caracas. Paranaense hosting Colo Colo. That is Carlos Carmona's team heading to Brazil. Defensa y Justicia hosting Olimpia at 6:15. 8:30 games tonight. You've got 4. Guarani of Paraguay hosting Palmeiras. América de Cali hosting Universidad Católica. Alianza Lima hosting Racing, and Internacional and Gremio in an all-Brazilian affair.
Here's your juice boxes quickly. Atletico is a minus 185. Colo-Colo is a plus 517. Your draw is a plus 300. Caracas is a plus 170, as is Libertad, and I guess they're thinking draw because the draw is a plus 213. Defensa y Justicia is a plus 114. That's gone down a little bit. Olimpia Asuncion is a plus 227. Your draw plus 246. 830s Alianza Lima plus 511. Racing minus 164. Your draw is a plus 263. America de Cali a plus 138. Católica plus 192. Your draw plus 227. Guarani a plus 309. Palmeiras a minus 106. And your draws in the 230s. Internacional is a plus 156, Gremio just north of 200, and your draw is just under plus 200.
That plus 156 for Internacional is the one that jumps out to me the most. I think they're a far better team than Gremio. They're coming off of a loss, but they're at home. Plus 150 at home for a team that good. Yeah, that's the number for me that I like the best. So Libertadores tonight. And then tomorrow we'll get into those games on the show. We've only got 3 tomorrow, but they're all in a row. And there's some interesting ones. We'll get into the storylines tomorrow. We'll get you updated on everything out of South America. Matchday 5 is next week. They are jamming this thing in to get these games played. And that Flamengo one was a question because of the positive test, because of volcanic eruptions, because of all kinds of things going on. But they played the match, and when you start to look ahead to World Cup qualifiers coming up in October in South America, they're going to be aggressive in getting these games in. It's a necessity for CONMEBOL. It's a necessity for the clubs and the federations to get these games played. If they don't, you're going to start to have even more financial issues. So they're trying to do it, and they're trying to do it effectively and safely. We'll see if they can keep that up. U.S. Soccer announced yesterday that the men's national team will not play in any international matches in October due to COVID concerns. Netherlands and Wales were on the docket for October. They've been postponed. Nations League Final Four has been pushed back. You're looking right now, if you're U.S. Soccer, on hosting a training camp in November. And that would include friendlies, but that would be in Europe, at least at last report it was. It'd be an all-European-based training camp and set of matches. And you've got enough players over there to do it, and European teams are playing, so you can make it work. You're not going to do anything in this country right now. It's just not going to happen. And you're not going to have MLS players and players from around the world in the same camp right now. That's not going to happen either. So it's one or the other, and more than likely it's going to be in Europe because that's the only way you're going to get games played at the moment. One other bit of news, and this is something worth keeping an eye on. Sebastian Soto, who I think gets completely lost in the shuffle when it comes to Josh Sargent and great young American forwards. Soto was outstanding in the U20 World Cup last year. Struggled to get a consistent foothold at the club level. He is potentially going to go join Chile and join them for World Cup qualifying, which would make that switch permanent. Now, there's been some changes to the way you can switch national teams you play for. There's questions here because he played for the U.S. in an official competition in the U20 World Cup. He would have to file for that switch, so I don't know if he'd be able to play for Chile in October, where they've talked about calling him up. I don't think that's going to happen unless these changes are a little more broad than I'm understanding them. But Sebastian Soto could be leaving the U.S. program, and I think that's a huge loss. Huge loss. Josh Sargent's a great player, but Josh Sargent's not a lock on the number 9 position forever and ever and ever right now. I don't think he starts in a competitive game if it's tomorrow. I think Gyasi Zardes does. And that's fine. People can come at that all you want. I've said for a long time that I think Josie Altidore is the number 9 for this team until, proven otherwise. Right now, Gyasi Zardes is the best forward playing that can represent the U.S. at the moment. He is. Is that going to be the case in March? Who knows? But right now, he is. Sargent is not the guy just because he's playing in Germany right now. He has to play better. I don't know if playing at Werder Bremen's necessarily helping him. Zardes takes way too much criticism because I think somebody made a bad first touch video on him a few years ago. Stop. Gyasi Zardes is scoring goals. Gyasi Zardes works hard up top. He's the best fit for a team that in a critical game, and like I said before, right now, if you're playing friendlies, Zardes isn't going to be in a team that's going to include Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Gio Reyna, Christian Pulisic, because he's in the MLS and those guys are in Europe, and you're not going to have two separate groups coming into camp at the moment. But when you start talking about World Cup qualifiers, if they started today, he would be the best one to play with that group. And there was a really good conversation on Counterattack yesterday on SiriusXM FC, and I'm in agreement with Tony Meola and Brian Dunseth on this. Gio Reyna's emergence will dramatically help the U.S. because it allows Christian Pulisic to play out wide where he's more comfortable. You kind of had to play him centrally in previous times out with the national team because you didn't have anybody there to drive the team forward. He's not as comfortable there. He's more comfortable out wide where he can find those 1v1s. Reyna in front of McKennie and Adams is a good midfield trio. Pulisic on a flank really works well. You've got to sort out who the number 9 will be, and you've got to sort out who the other winger is. Backline, there's questions, but that's a pretty good base to build upon. And everybody's got to stay healthy. Everybody's got to stay in form. But that makes this team better straight away. If Gio Reyna can go ahead and step into it, and if he's going to be this much in the mix at Dortmund, then he can be this much in the mix for the national team. My thing about national team appearances and all of that has always been you've got to be performing at the club level. And I pushed back on people who were saying Sargent should start over Altidore and Zardes when he just went to Germany, when he wasn't even playing, just when he was there. It's no, that's not good enough. You got to be playing. Zardes should get the job right now because he's playing the best, and he would be that guy. Now, that could change by the time they actually take the field, and we'll see what happens. But Reyna's emergence can make this team better. If McKinney continues to improve, it makes this team better. Things are coming together a little bit. And we'll see what happens between now and competitive fixtures because, normally you'd get a chance to see these guys together, blend, see some games, see how they fit together. You're probably not going to get that. Not in a COVID qualifying world here. You're going to have to think about it on paper and make a decision. And if it doesn't work, you're going to have a plan B that you can turn to really quick because there's not going to be a whole lot of margin for error.
No, and I'm with you. And strictly, this is eye test, and I know that people sit there and go, MLS competition and Bundesliga competition are different. But in seeing Gyasi Zardes, to me, he's playing much better from what I'm seeing versus what I'm seeing with Josh Sargent at times. Sargent with Werder Bremen last season in the Bundesliga looked lost. There were issues about his fitness that were being brought up. And for me, it just didn't look like he was comfortable at Werder Bremen last year in trying to be a part of that offense. So for me, I would go with Zardes over Sargent right now as well.
He's playing the best, and that's what it should be. It should be about form. It should not be about a resume. It's got to be about current form. Some other stuff from around the world. In Italy, Roma right now have been penalized with fielding an irregularly fielding a player. It's down to rostering. Diawara, who turned 23, was listed on the U22 list for their roster. He's obviously not anymore. He wasn't pushed to the senior roster list. He played as a U22 player when he wasn't U22. And they drew on the weekend. That has right now been turned to a forfeit of a 3-0. And this has happened before. I don't know if it'll stick. It is a procedural thing. I don't know if it will stick or not, but whoever was doing the rostering and the paperwork might be looking for another job. Because that's just a pretty basic, simple, easy thing. In the Netherlands, this came out yesterday. We talked about it a little bit on the run-up last night. Frank de Boer has emerged as the most likely candidate to be named manager of the Dutch national team. Ronald Koeman left. Frank de Boer had said he wasn't interested in working in a national team format before Ronald Koeman left. You need somebody right now because you have 3 internationals next month. You have a friendly and you have 2 Nations League matches. He's available, first off. Frank Rijkaard is available, but Frank Rijkaard hasn't managed since he left Barcelona, I think, in 2007? Or 2008, summer of 2008. I don't think he has managed since then. So that would be a wild card. There were managers who are currently working who were on the list that didn't seem to be very realistic at all. Louis van Gaal left the door open for a possible return, even though he said he's retired. He was questioned on TV, but reports said that the prospect of that happening was vetoed by the players. Virgil van Dijk, who's the captain of the team, told reporters after their Nations League matches earlier this month that the players had given a list of their preferences to the Dutch Federation. Don't know where they felt on de Boer at that time or not. His name did come up immediately when Koeman left, and then nothing came of it. And right now it looks like he's going to be the guy and could be announced, I think, as early as today.
To answer your question about Rijkaard, last team he managed was the Saudi Arabia national team from 2011 to 2013.
Oh, wow, forgot about that stint. That went really well. I have no idea why everybody is acting like this is the craziest thing and horrible and shocking and all of those things. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. But I wasn't one who thought that Frank de Boer didn't know what he was doing. That was crazy talk. And it's still crazy talk. Did you not like some aspects of his style? Did you not like some aspects of his personality? All fine. All that's fine. This is a guy who represented his national team at the highest of high levels. This is a guy who's a legend in the program. This is a guy who was an assistant on the team that went to a final in 2010. This is a guy who won 4 domestic league titles in the Netherlands, the only manager to do that in the history of the league. And there's been a lot of great managers in that league. He's the only one. Yes, Crystal Palace. Yes, Inter. And no, Atlanta United is not in that conversation. He won trophies. He was the third best team in the league. No, it is not in that conversation. It makes all the sense in the world. And I totally believe him when he said he wasn't interested in the interview with Felipe Cardenas at The Athletic before this job opened up. I don't think he was interested. I don't think he was looking to jump into a national team job. But when you've worn that shirt and you've worn that polo and you've worn the polo in a World Cup final and you've wore the shirt in a World Cup and you have the opportunity to put on that polo again and represent the team in a World Cup, yeah, you're going to take it. They need somebody now. They need help because Coleman left for the only job that he would have left for. He's going to answer that call. Whether he was interested before the job was open or not, he's going to answer that call. And it's the right call to make. He's absolutely the right call to make. I think a national team job might suit him really well right now. It's a different kind of job. He's got a lot of talent in that team, a whole lot of talent in that team. And I think it's a good fit for him at the moment. It's a good fit for the Dutch Federation in my mind. So the continual trashing of Frank de Boer is really getting tired at this point. This is a good hire. This reflects well on Atlanta United. This is fine. There's nothing wrong with any of this. So whatever. If he's still the whipping boy, then okay, fine. I think it's a little sad, but I hope he does well, and I think he will with a lot of talent in that team.
Right there with you. When your country knocks on the door, if there's an availability, there are a lot of folks that are humbled and honored when they are asked when that pull is available. You've worn the jersey, you've worn the polo, you've done it in international competition. When your country comes calling, there's a sense of duty and honor and privilege that's all attached to this. And so I want to see him succeed. I want to see him do well. And pardon my French, I want to see him kick ass, bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they do well. They should with the talent that they have. This is just hitting this morning from Reuters. The Global Players Union, FIFPro, has issued a statement, multiple concerns about next month's World Cup qualifiers in South America, including the high incidence of COVID-19 in the region, travel difficulties, and for those based in Europe, quarantine on their return. Now, this was a huge part of the conversation on CONMEBOL's side. They were demanding that FIFA made it clear to them that players would be allowed to come from Europe to play in these competitions, or they were going to postpone because they didn't want to play with just domestic players. FIFA said, nope, everything is good as we normally do, no problems. Players will have to answer the call-ups, teams will have to release players, et cetera, et cetera. FIFPro's General Secretary Jonas Bear Hoffman wants players to be allowed to decide if they want to play without fear of sanctions. So the players need to be able to make free decisions. It's a region heavily infected by the pandemic, and there are certain COVID-19 restrictions and travel warnings. Asia has postponed qualifiers until March. CONCACAF has postponed qualifiers until March. South America is set to play in October. Europe is set to play in October. CONMEBOL has allowed, and they've done this with Libertadores, which was seen as kind of a test run for all this, even in countries where borders are closed, like the issue that the U.S. and Canada are having with the Canadian MLS teams, with the Toronto Blue Jays, and figuring out what your normal season would look like here. They did not allow exceptions. CONMEBOL has negotiated with all the governments in South America exceptions. That's why even in countries with closed borders at the moment, teams are able to come in, and they're basically creating like bubble situations where teams come into the country. That's the idea. So I don't know how this is going to go, but if players and big name players, your Lionel Messi's, your Neymar's, if they push back and put pressure on this to change, games will get pushed back. Yeah. They will. There's just no question about it, because these qualifiers, I mean, you play in South America 18 games to go, and 4 teams qualify out of 10. I mean, it's the most difficult qualifying process in the world. You don't want to have a game that counts and you can't bring in your European-based players. Your heavyweights, your Argentinas, your Brazils, they won't stand for it. Your smaller countries will be absolutely fine because they don't have many players in Europe. But your bigger countries, they're not going to allow it. So if there's pushback from the players, not the players' union, not FIFPro, although that can start it, if your heavyweight players in South America come out and say, we're not comfortable with this, then it'll get pushed back. Yeah. But everything right now is on at the moment. The quarantines when they return is going to be a question. The testing is going to be a question. There's lots of questions, but right now they are pushing forward with qualifiers, and the players' union is a little skeptical of the whole situation.
Where would you like to go next?
Let's hop into MLS because we got a lot of things to cover in MLS. Let's not start with fantasy. We'll finish with the MLS fantasy stuff. Let's just run through the schedule. We'll hit the juice boxes as we go, and just a couple notes on each of the games. It is a packed schedule today, and it starts at 5 o'clock. New England hosting Montreal at 5 o'clock, I guess just because they want to. I don't know the reasoning on this, but okay. In this one, Romel Kyoto is suspended for Montreal due to a red card. Matt Polster suspended due to a red card for New England. Montreal's won the last 2 times at Gillette Stadium. This is the 3rd time that they will be playing this year. And Montreal won on opening day in Montreal at the Big O, 2-1. They met in group play at the MLS's back tournament. New England won that one. So each team has a win in the series this year. Montreal's coming off a 4-1 loss to Philly. New England has been pretty meh. They had a scoreless draw with NYC. What are the numbers saying?
New England minus 172. The Impact are at plus 430, and your draw is a plus 330.
I like the draw option there. I'm not convinced there's going to be a whole lot in it. I don't know what Montreal is going to be able to produce without Kyoto. New England's not producing a whole lot with anybody. So, scoreless draw. No fun. That's what I pick out of Gillette Stadium.
And this is also their kick childhood cancer match as well.
Isn't that everybody's this month?
I'm sure at some point, yes. And I'm trying to figure out why it was a 5 o'clock, and that's the first notification that I've seen.
There's nobody in the stands.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, it is the whole month is kick childhood cancer. So I don't know. Anyway, New York City 7 o'clock hosting Toronto. New York City has the second best defense in the league. They got that scoreless draw with New England, so that was good for their defense. Toronto has had a lot of injuries. They drew 2-2 with DC on Saturday. I don't know where they are with all of their injury concerns. If they are still so beat up, I'm heavily leaning on New York City here. If they start to get some players back, that'll help Alejandro Pozuelo, but he can't do everything himself. You're going to need Ayo Ekinola to continue to step up. He's had good moments. He had a great match or a great couple of matches in the MLS's back tournament. It's been a little inconsistent for him, although he's got 6 goals on the year. That's tied for 6th in the overall league. Toronto have gotten results in their last 3 games in the league. Do they get one here? I'm going to go with no, but I want to see what the juice boxes say.
NYCFC plus 147. Toronto FC plus 172, and your draw plus 257. Yeah,
that's pretty good for that match if you're New York City. I'm going to go with New York City in that one. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for NYC. All right, 7:30, Chicago hosting Houston. No Albert Ellis. He is gone. Houston can't get their deal done on the forward from the second division in Argentina, and this is not good for the Houston Dynamo. It's a little embarrassing, to be perfectly honest. The president of Instituto, which is the second division team that they are trying to sign a player from, Mateo Bahamic, a forward. They're trying to pay in installments, and the club president has said, you're going to have to make a better offer. There's another MLS team interested. When you're getting trash talked on Argentine radio by a second division club president,
wow,
that's not good if you're the Houston Dynamo. So they're carrying that into this match. I don't know if the team really cares about that, but it's a little embarrassing. They have to figure out how to deal without Albert Ellis. Chicago has struggled. They are on a bit of a skid. Dynamo got a result for the 7th time out of their last 8. That's pretty impressive. Now, there's a good number of draws mixed in there. Last year, these teams met. Chicago got the win. It was one of not a whole lot of wins for Chicago last year. It's a very, very different team. First time that they have played, this matchup has played each other at Soldier Field. What are the numbers saying? Because I have no idea how to feel about this one.
This one has changed even while we've been on the show.
Okay.
Chicago is now in the minus at minus 101. Houston is a plus 242, and your draw is a plus 286.
Draw just because I don't know where to go with it. Total draw just because I have no idea where to go with that thing.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go any further on it. I have no idea. Cincinnati hosting Philadelphia, 7:30. Cincinnati got their first win since the MLS's back tournament. They had lost 6 in a row, or they hadn't won in 6. They beat the Red Bulls with a 1-goal win. Red Bulls, since the coaching change, has not looked good. And the goal was ridiculous. Harris Medunjanin on a goal Olympico directly from a corner kick. It's only the 7th time in MLS's 25-year history that's happened. Philadelphia has won 3 in a row. They've won 5 in their last 6. They got that 4-1 win over Montreal. Philly's got to be a big favorite here. Harris Manunian might be a little pumped up for this one going up against his former team. Kasper Shabilko's got 7 goals on the year. He scored 2 against Montreal. Philadelphia beat Cincinnati both times last year. This is a better Cincinnati team, I think, than last year. This is a Philadelphia team that's among the best in the league. Philly wins, but by how much, and what do the juice boxes think on it?
Let's see if this classifies as disrespect for you.
Okay.
FC Cincinnati a plus 216, Philadelphia a plus 129, and a draw plus 234.
No, I mean, that's about right. I mean, Cincinnati's at home, and they're not an easy team to beat. They're not exactly exciting. They're going to pack it in. They're going to defend. They're going to do what we've seen them do under Jaap Stam. I think Philadelphia is better. I mean, it's a plus 120 on the road is not disrespectful. Not at all. But I think Philadelphia gets that win. I think they handle it fairly comfortably. Columbus hosting Minnesota, 7:30. Crew have not lost in 5. They have a home shutout streak that is setting records right now. They extended that with their 2-0 win over Nashville on Saturday. Jossie Zardes, 9 goals on the year. He's one behind Diego Rossi in the Golden Boot standings. 5 shutouts at home for Columbus. That's the most shutouts at home from the start of a season in MLS history. First team to ever win its first 5 home contests, all by shutout. Now, it's crazy that we're talking about they've only played 5 home games, and it's September 23rd, but welcome to 2020. Minnesota has gotten results in 3 of their last 4. It was a 2-2 draw with Houston on Saturday. Molino has scored 3 goals in 3 games. Robin Lod got his 3rd in his last 4 games. They met in the round of 16 at MLS's back. It was a 1-1 draw. Minnesota advanced in the penalty shootout. So Columbus will be a little hyped up to get some revenge. There haven't been many teams that have pushed past them this season. Gregush is suspended due to a red card from Minnesota. Very curious to hear the numbers on this.
Crew minus 141, Minnesota plus 359, and your draw plus 301.
I like the draw. I like the draw in this one. That's a big number against a team in Minnesota that's a good team. I think their attack can threaten a great defense in Columbus. Yeah, I like the draw. I'm gonna go out on a limb on that one and go draw. Okay. Kansas City hosting Orlando, 7:30. It's on FS1. Sporting has had just a couple of really weird results this year. They've been really good, but they've got that loss to Houston that stands out. They've got this loss to Dallas that stands out at home. Johnny Russell scored both goals for Kansas City. He's got all of their last 3 goals over the last couple of games. Orlando undefeated in 6 back-to-back wins. Big 4-1 win over Chicago at home on Saturday. Mueller and Nani each had a goal and an assist. Mueller's 4th in the Golden Boot standings. He's got 7 goals on the year. In Kansas City, normally you would think Kansas City is a pretty good favorite here. Normally, you would think Orlando doesn't have a lot of a chance here. This is 2020. What do the odds makers say?
Sporting minus 125, Orlando City plus 308, and your draw plus 297.
I don't think Kansas City loses back-to-back at home. That's the thing, is I don't think they do. That Orlando number is really tempting for a good team in Orlando, but I don't think Kansas City loses back-to-back at home. I'm just not expecting it. They have had fans at Kansas City, Abby. I'm not sure what the percentage is. Looked like a pretty decent number against Dallas on Saturday. So they've had fans. That will help some. I think Kansas City wins it. I don't think they lose to Orlando at home. I don't think they lose back-to-back at home. I'm not expecting it. Miami hosting the Red Bulls, 8 o'clock. So Miami got their second win, or their first win away from home, their second win in 3 when they beat Atlanta on Saturday. Red Bulls lost at home to Cincinnati. This feels like a Miami win. Red Bull has not been good this season. I don't think they're going to travel well to Miami. Miami's got some confidence building. They're not going to have Gonzalo Higuain yet. He is training with the team fully now, but he's not going to be available for this one. Still waiting on the visa situation. What are the numbers saying?
Inter minus 122.
Yeah.
Red Bulls plus 341, your draw plus 265, and Abbey, they allowed 14% capacity at Children's Mercy.
Oh, wow. Looked like more than that. That sounds about right. There's nothing that jumps out to me about that. I'm a little surprised. I wondered if they might still have the expansion team tag on Miami and not give them a whole lot of credit in this one. But that feels right. Miami should win. Nashville hosting D.C., another opportunity for an expansion team to get a win. They had been undefeated in 4 before losing to Columbus. D.C. did get the result with an injury-ravaged Toronto. Griffin Yao, that was a great moment, 17 years old. Great goal for him in the 88th minute to get the point. This is the first time they've met. What are the odds makers saying?
Nashville minus 143.
Ooh. Wow.
DC plus 401, and your draw plus 277.
I kind of like the draw number because Nashville does play a tighter game here, and I don't think that's necessarily going to change even against DC.
Yeah.
But I think Nashville wins. I do. I don't have a whole lot of respect for DC United this season. They have not looked good, and they've got injuries too, and they're relying on a lot of different players to have to step up in a big way. Nashville's been good. I don't think that loss to Columbus dents anything for Nashville that they've been building. Waiting on an update on Yonder Cadiz and when he's going to be able to join that team because he'll make them better as well. I think Nashville will get the win here. I think they will at home.
DC's just gone up to 404, by the way.
See, there you go. So the SDH effect. Colorado hosting San Jose. San Jose's coming off the 6-1 loss to Portland. We'll see if Matias Almeida's headache has gotten any better. Mm-hmm. Colorado took points for the 5th time in 6. Now, they had a bad loss mixed into that. You talk about up and down. Colorado's been that this season. They were on a bad run of games. Now they've gotten 5 results in 6. They went to L.A. and won 2-0 against the Galaxy, another up and down team. Welcome to 2020. It's hard to follow what's going to happen with these games. Cole Bassett is emerging big time for the Rapids. 3 goals on the year. He's got 2 in the last 3. He is one of the next young American talents who will go to Europe, who will be in the national team picture. Cole Bassett is legit. These teams met earlier this year, September 5th. It was a 1-1 draw in San Jose. I have no idea. What do the numbers say on this one?
Okay, here you go. Colorado minus 196. San Jose plus 466, and your draw plus 365.
I don't have enough belief in San Jose to take that. The draw is somewhat appealing. The draw is actually pretty appealing. If you want to, take a wild card here, that would be the one. Take your favorite Jumex small can and put it on it. Yeah, I can't go with anything other than a draw. Because that number's a good one that jumps out to you. I don't have enough faith in Colorado to win because I still don't trust them. I definitely don't have faith in that San Jose number. So, no, I'll go draw. Real Salt Lake hosting LA Galaxy. Another set of teams that we just do not know what they're going to do. So the Galaxy had been undefeated in 6. Then they lost to Colorado. RSL was on a little bit of a run there for a minute. Now they've lost 2 in a row, and they lost to Vancouver at Rio Tinto on Saturday. Kyle Beckerman suspended for RSL. Julian Araujo suspended for LA, both with red cards last time out. I mean, RSL's the home team, if that helps anything here. What are the odds makers saying?
RSL plus 124, the Galaxy plus 190, and your draw plus 282.
You get a plus on a home team against a not-so-great team. You generally go with that, so I would have to go RSL with the win here. I would not put a juice box that I would not want to lose on that one, though, because there's not a whole lot of trust in either one of those teams. Portland and Seattle. Feels like they have played every other week in perpetuity in 2020. It's a 10 o'clock kick. Portland set an MLS club record with that 6-goal output against San Jose. Seattle won their second match in a row in impressive fashion, that 3-0 win over LAFC at home. Lodero got 2 goals, the opening 2, both from the spot. He is 14 for 14 on penalties in Major League Soccer. Raul Ruidiaz scored his 8th goal. He is in 3rd place in the Golden Boot standings. This is the 3rd time they've met. I swear it feels like it's been about 12.
I know. Yeah.
Portland won in Seattle on September 6th. Seattle won in Portland on August 23rd. The last 6 times these teams have played, the away team has won.
Wow.
That's a wild number. It's in Portland this time around.
Right.
What do the juice boxes say?
Portland plus 175, your draw plus 276. Seattle plus 137.
Hey. I almost always roll with Portland, and they burn me about half of the time.
Yeah, see, I'm not touching this one.
Seattle is looking better, and that crazy away number thing jumps out to me, although maybe we jinxed it by saying it.
Uh-huh.
All right, Gio, you got to win me back. I'm going Seattle here. I think Seattle wins in Portland. Gio, you're going to have to earn my trust again because I don't trust the Timbers at the moment. LAFC hosting Vancouver, speaking of teams we don't trust, which is seemingly everybody because the results are all over the map. Mm-hmm. LAFC won for their first time in 3, then they went to Seattle and lost, so they've got 1 win in 4. Vancouver has won back-to-back games, and they've won 3 and 4, which is nuts. Milinkovic scored his first MLS goal. Cavallini scored his second. Cavallini's back from the suspension against Montreal. They've been good with him back. I mean, ordinarily you would look at this and say, LAFC wins like with 4 or 5 goals. I don't know at this point. I really don't know. What are the numbers saying? Because I'm curious where they got this thing.
Okay. LAFC minus 500.
They've won once in 4.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what is it?
Your draw plus 628.
Wow, okay.
And I'm building here.
Yeah, I know.
Vancouver plus 1122.
Oh, yeah!
That's it. I will go buy a case of Humex mango flavor, which I like the peach one better. I'll take the mango flavor one that I didn't like as much. I'll go buy the case, and I'll put it on Vancouver. I can't believe I just said that. Because that number's ridiculous against a team that's won 1 time in 4.
Uh-huh.
1 time in 4, and LA's that big of a favorite?
Uh-huh.
LA's a better team. At full strength, it's not even close. But you've got one team running hot, and you've got one team running cold. I'm going Vancouver. I'm like it's making me a little dizzy to say that, but I'm picking the Whitecaps. I'm rooting with the Couch Ultras. I'll be watching that one not from my couch, but I'll be watching that one from the chair.
Could you imagine the Couch Ultras with this one?
The Couch Ultras, they should go find whatever the juice box flavors are in Vancouver. No, not beer. You're not wasting the beer on this, John. Come on, this is Canada we're talking about. They're not wasting beer. They're going to get whatever crazy, weird juice boxes you got in British Columbia. They're going to put it on it, and they're going to have to go buy new Roombas to pick up all the confetti that they go nuts with when they win tonight. Because I think the Whitecaps win.
Oh, that's going to be great.
I'm really dizzy by even thinking that the Whitecaps are going to beat LAFC, but so right. No, I'm not disrespecting the Couch Ultras. They are amazing. I would never disrespect the Couch Ultras.
Amazing.
John might have because he's telling them to waste their beer, but I was not, Katie Weaver. They are friends of mine.
Under no circumstance.
They're virtual friends of mine.
Are we disrespecting the Couch Ultras? Under no circumstance are we ever doing that. USL Championship juice boxes, by the way.
Yes.
Jessica Charman and I, while you're busy with Atlanta United tonight, Jessica Charman and I are calling Atlanta United 2 and Red Bulls 2. That one's a little after 7:30 on ESPN+. Couple of matchups in Group G and Group H tonight. Charlotte minus 312 going up against the Miami FC, which is a plus 606. Indy 11 and St. Louis. Indy 11's a minus 125. Atlanta United 2 is a plus 198 going up against Red Bulls 2. Red Bulls 2 is a plus 106. And your draw is a plus 252. Memphis, North Carolina FC, and New Mexico United, Rio Grande Valley have both been postponed, and there are other matchups around the USL, but that's your highlights.
What else are you looking for with Atlanta United 2 tonight?
More of the same. And honestly, it's the home finale, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they respond to John Wolynek and what we know what Red Bulls do as a team. How do they respond in this environment to that mindset and to that approach that Red Bulls have? Don't get weirded out in the first 20 minutes. Just kind of get settled and get into the rhythm of the game in and of itself. I want to see what the front looks like. Do we see Jackson Conway out wide again? And I want to see if Mackie Jope is healthy and if he's back in the lineup for the home finale. We know what we're going to see from a lot of the guys. We know that Amir Bashti is going to run all night long. We know that we're going to see the same from Philip Goodrum. I mean, literally, you and I could go down the roster and sit there and say, okay, we're going to expect this, and this from these guys because the progressions that we've seen this season have been tremendous. But just get settled, get into the game, don't give up an early goal, accept the pressure that Red Bulls 2 is going to put on you, and be able to take care of the travel that Red Bulls 2 had to do to get down here to Kennesaw for a 7:30 start.
Yeah, Burns said Atlanta United 2 plus 200 at home? Question mark. Red Bulls 2 aren't good either. Christopher Abel asked about the 2s being out of playoff contention. They are. I'd have to go back and look at, the schedule's not normal, so it's hard to say, but the way they did the USL playoffs, they put you in groups and only the top 2 went through, and this group has 2 of the top teams in the league, in Tampa Bay and Charleston, who have beaten up everybody else, and Charleston's had Tampa Bay's number. But those are 2 of the best teams in the Eastern Conference, and those 2 were going to get the spots. Atlanta was in the mix there for a while. In a normal USL year where you're getting some help from MLS players, you're getting more movement, it could have been a different year. But for me, watching most of the games at home and most of the away games, I felt like the quality of play from this team was very good, and it was higher than it's ever been. The individuals that are developing are developing a little faster than they ever have. There's going to be more George Campbells coming out of, it feels like, a production of the academy and Atlanta United 2. There's going to be more of those types of players coming. It was a tough year with a coaching change, even though Stephen Glass and Tony Annan are probably a lot more in alignment with the way that they both function because they're both kind of building that identity for the club as a whole, and it starts with the academy, then it comes into the second team. So it wasn't maybe as much of a jolt as it was with Stephen Glass coming in after Frank de Boer. That was a little bit more of a different mentality. Stephen and Tony, far more similar. And the results have been not what you want, but the performances have been exactly what you want. The performances have been good. And look, it's tough to judge a second team. It's tough to find it because it's not just on results. I've always said with academy and with second teams, you're judging on players you produce, not on trophies. You do want to get more games, and you get more games by making the playoffs. And this team hasn't done that yet, and that's something that will change as the level of player continues to go up. But in a year like this one, where it was very heavily academy-driven, and you were playing, at times, multiple 15 and 16-year-olds for a lot of minutes, I'll take it. Because especially I'll take some of the players that we've seen emerge and I think have advanced further than we expected this year in terms of their pro careers. So, a Caleb Wiley, a Will Riley, a Jackson Conway, a Coleman Gannon, Garrison Tubbs showed you a lot early on. Matthew Edwards now is emerging. And then, guys who went through the college route who I think are developing quickly in their pro careers, and Jack Gurr and Patrick Nielsen, two players that could be useful for the first team as well. I'll take that out of this season. Game will be on in the press box once we wrap up, and I'll go back and watch it. Might not be tomorrow because there's a bunch of stuff to catch up on, but hopefully it's a good call for you guys, and hopefully it's a good result in the home finale.
Yeah, Charleston, just so everybody knows, in Group H, has a game in hand on Tampa. They're 3 points back, and they're 3 behind in goal difference. Tampa and Charleston, yes, they're going to be fighting up against Group G in the playoffs, but that's going to be going down to the absolute wire. In the last day of the regular season, Tampa Bay and Charleston play each other again, and that will probably determine, if things fall out the way that we anticipate, that'll determine who's 1 and 2 out of Group H.
Yeah, it's been weird because I think Tampa's the better team, but Charleston's just got their number. So be curious to see how this one goes. Byrne makes a good point about you can't judge results this year when you're not able to play the players that you wanted to play and planned to play. Yep. Campbell would have played games for the twos. Wyke would have played games for the twos. Wolf would have probably stuck with the twos. Castro might have played some with the twos. Mo Adams might have played some with the twos. You would have had players who got opportunities with the twos far more, and that would have it would have changed it because the results might have been better, but then you wouldn't have seen maybe Caleb Wiley get as many minutes, for example, or Will Riley get as many minutes, or you might not have seen things emerge the way they did. I'll take the way things emerged. I'll take that for the long-term health of the club overall because you got players further along this year than even you planned on. Did it cost you some results in games? Yeah, it did. Absolutely. These are games that don't matter overall. And it's not to say that twos games don't matter. They matter in a different way. You're looking at the individual development. You're looking at the overall performance. You're not looking at results being the end-all, be-all. First team, you are. Second team, you're not. So it's just a different conversation with them.
Yep. 9 teams have already clinched postseason berths in the USL Championship, and we'll see how everything falls out. But yeah, this one, it's going to be a fun one because Red Bulls too. They're 4-8 this year. They've already been eliminated from any kind of postseason because of the season that Pittsburgh and Hartford have had in Group F. So what kind of a lineup does John Wolyniec put out there tonight? So that's another question that I'll have. But it's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a great home finale, and it's going to be great to see just one last home match with all these guys with everything that we've seen this season when it comes to their development.
Questions from Twitter before we get Mike Conte on the line.
All right. Brian Diefenbach. After listening to Tuesday's show, I'm interested in your thoughts on this. We clearly see, as you said, players don't 1-2 with John or avoid building through him. As an opposing coach, you could change defensive shape or shade the player differently. An
opposing coach could. I think one reason they don't is opposing coaches are taking that away a little bit, and John and the midfield are not on the same page, and that's needed to change. Kubo Torres clicked faster with the midfield in terms of that. When he came into the match the first time, it felt like he'd been playing with them longer than John had. That's got to change because I think Adam John can give you that. And I don't know why it hasn't necessarily worked outside of neither one is expecting what's happening. Like John is expecting the ball to be given to him. He's not. He's showing for it. It's not given to him. consistently. They're expecting John to do something different. It's not working. They've got to figure that out, because if teams are going to sit deeper against Atlanta, the forward can't only be involved at the end of plays. They've got to get involved in opening the game up. That's why one thing we saw during Frank de Boer's time here was having Joseph be more mobile, because it helped you unlock teams more. If Joseph is dropping into the midfield, that creates a quandary for a center back. Do they go follow him? Do they yell at the defensive midfielder, hey, he's coming up behind you, make sure you got him? Everything starts to get out of whack. If teams don't have to worry about that, center backs just stay home and clear everything and just sit deep. That's easier. That's much easier. It's much better for your defense. So you've got to get the forward more involved, and you've got to get them involved a little earlier. If John's not the exact kind of player that Joseph is and dropping that deep, okay, that's fine. He can still be a pivot for the midfield to revolve around. You can play to him, and he can hold it or play somebody else in, and it'll create more space. They're not creating enough space there. That's the problem. And now, without Cubo Torres, it's Adam John, or you're turning to somebody like Emmanuel Castro or a John Gallagher, or insert name here, who will really just be trying to get in behind. And there's no way to get in behind if teams are going to sit deeper. You've got to then play long out of the back, which is not something they want to do. And then you're back to the same issue about you're just running into brick walls. So they need to get John more involved. To get more out of this attack, they have to get Adam John more involved. I just don't see how it works otherwise.
Right. And then Chris Ashley says, a question for the floor. Will Franco cut someone tonight if Dallas is doing the same time-wasting antics that they did against Kansas City?
Yeah, he would. I hope he doesn't have to, because I hope Atlanta doesn't fall behind early and then we start to see that. But, yeah, he'll get frustrated. Franco has to have a better match tonight. He had fault in the second goal against Miami. He reacted late on the throw, and Breck Shea beat him to the spot. It can't happen. It just can't happen. They've got to not fall behind tonight. They've got to build some confidence in the match. They can do that. Maybe we're having a different conversation tomorrow. If they fall behind early again, it's deja vu. It's Groundhog Day. It's the same thing we have been seeing over and over again. They can't fall behind early. All right. You got to tell us about a good friend of ours, Steve Apolinsky in Decatur, GA.
I could do that. Apolinsky & Associates, LLC, proud supporters of everything soccer down here in the SDH network. Wrongful death and serious injury matters. If this is a discussion that you need to have, Steve Apolinsky and Apolinsky & Associates are the folks that you should have it with. You can do that a couple of different ways. You can get a free consultation by giving Steve a call at 404-577-9191. Or what you can do is go to the website, aa-legal.com. You hit enter, you hit forward, you hit the arrow key, whatever device you're using that advances it to that particular website. And what you can do is you'll get a pop-up window. You can have a conversation with the pop-up window, or really the individual who's inside the pop-up window and speaking on its behalf. And you can have that conversation 24/7, 365 and a quarter. Or you can shoot Steve an email at steve, S-T-E-V-E, at aa-legal.com and get your questions answered that way. Over 30 years of experience, over 40 years, over $40 million in judgments for their clients for the 30 years of experience. Recognized as Legal Elite by Georgia Trend Magazine, one of the top 100 firms in this here state of Georgia. Wrongful death and serious injury matters of the website, aa-legal, tooquick.com.
You freestyled at that time. You did a lot of different things.
Yeah, I was trying to, juggle the information a little bit, but then it came out too quick.
That one might have to go back to the drawing board, John.
I think I just might have to go back to the original.
Yeah.
Because when you do a remake, sometimes the remake just is not the same as the original, and just singing the original tune is just what you got to do.
It's accurate. All right, let's see if virtual producer Mateo can get this one done today. Mike Conti will be joining us, hopefully. John will go Bruce Arena blurry face here for a minute, we think. Yep. There's no telling what John said when he went blurry face.
Uh-uh.
Mike Conti will have some things to say, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'll try. What's going on, guys?
Not much. How are you?
Good. Is someone eating like a bag of potato chips or something?
No, John doesn't know how microphones work, and he's been doing this long enough to know.
Well, look, one could certainly understand why John would be a little bit distracted tonight because somehow he's got to call action at the fraction and
Boom!
play at the bends at the same time, which I think is going to be quite a challenge and a display of his versatility.
Who is the better John Nelson?
have you
John
been
with an
told,
H or not?
Are you starting tonight, John, or are you coming off the bench?
I would think after 90 minutes a couple days ago, my guess is I'm probably coming off the bench and Hollingshead would start in my stead.
You had a really nice assist, though.
Hey, what is it they say about sometimes it's better to be lucky than good? With my left foot in this game, you're definitely trying to come up with something different. I am a truly left-footed player. I cannot use both feet at all. I have enough problems walking with both feet.
Are you left-footed or are you not left-footed? I'm confused.
No, I am left-footed.
Okay, so you don't have a right foot.
I don't have a right foot.
So you're Ryan Giggs, except
Yes,
really.
Yeah. No. I definitely do not have a right foot at all. I am left-footed to start, left-footed to finish. And, if you wanted to have me move to my right, I would be passing the ball immediately, if not sooner.
Fair enough.
Well, I look forward to seeing your display of versatility tonight, John.
Yes, the transmogrifier will definitely be on display going from one place to the other.
Before we get into the game, Mike, there was a question on the board, a random question of the day from Tafka. Favorite Nicolas Cage movie?
I really, really like The Rock.
Okay.
That's one of those movies that when it's on, I don't know, TNT or, TMC or I don't even know who has the rights to show The Rock right now. I've always enjoyed that one. I know that's probably not his best work. One could argue he might not even be the star of that movie. It might be more of a Sean Connery movie.
There's no one escapes The Rock.
Of course. Yes, exactly right. But that would be mine. I really, really like The Rock.
Yeah, we had a lot of folks. Jason was looking at Face Off. I had Raising Arizona, Peggy Sue, Family Man, Con Air.
Great call. Great call on Raising Arizona. Great call on
toddler.
That. Say that again?
I needs me a toddler.
Right.
See,
Raising Arizona is a classic.
I think his best performance was Leaving Las Vegas. Face Off was the most fun.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, no arguments on any of that. Nicolas Cage is someone that I think, like, for whatever reason, he seems to get mocked a little bit. It's a Nicolas Cage movie. Hello, brow. And actually, Nicolas Cage is a pretty good, versatile actor, and has been in a lot of good movies, both comedy and otherwise. So I'm all about Nicolas Cage. And Raising Arizona, I don't know how I could have possibly overlooked that one. That's a great one. I used to watch that almost on a weekly basis my freshman year of college. Love that movie.
See, we got that one, and but that was like one of the biggest questions that we had because obviously it's a Wall Pass Wednesday. But yeah, when Jason brought up Leaving Las Vegas, that was definitely one that was thrown into the rotation very, very quickly. National Treasure for me was another one.
Yeah, I have not seen that one, but I think that was out when I was in New Orleans, and I had some coworkers who raved about National Treasure. I just I felt like I was above National Treasure because I perceived it to be more of a family movie, and I was in my 20s and wild and not bogged
wild
down
and crazy in New Orleans in your 20s and avoiding Nicolas Cage movies.
Avoiding family movies, more or less.
Family movies, yes.
All right, this is the first time in MLS history that all 26 teams are in action in one day.
Not even on a decision. Well, 26, okay, because this is see, I'm ready for trivia tomorrow night. By the way, See, I was all ready to clap back and be like, no, that's impossible. You've had decision day where everyone plays.
Yeah.
But with all 26 teams, no, you're correct.
That's Rob Stone had that one. I can't take credit.
That's a good one. It's going to be a busy night. Yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of firsts. We've had the first league fixtures on February 29th. Now we have this, I guess. So that's a good stat. It's going to be a busy night. Look, I know a lot of people are making a big deal of where Atlanta United is on the Eastern Conference table right now. And, you're seeing a lot of people, well, they could be in last place by the end of the week and all that. Yeah, I mean, all that's true. But you're going to have some big movement on the table tonight. As I've tried to point out a few times, I think the difference between 6th and 12th in the East right now is only 5 points. And 9th and 12th is 1 point. So you're going to have some movement tonight to the plus and the minus. And, after tonight, you only have 10 matches left, and then you've really got to hit the gas pedal. That would be like the normal season equivalent of being at the end of July, early August, maybe even a little deeper than that. So we're gonna get some movement tonight. I think there's some intriguing matchups tonight, in both conferences, really. And then you have this kind of zombie interconference match with Atlanta and Dallas, even though the league really isn't scheduling interconference fixtures right now. I don't know. So important for Atlanta United. Going to be very tough. Very, very tough. And who knows if Barco's available. Who knows who's going to be in the team tonight. But, man, you'd really like to get 3 if you could. I don't know if they'll be able to do it. Nothing in their recent form has shown me that we should expect them to. But if you could, that would really, really help. Because then, potentially you go up to Chicago on Sunday night smelling a little bit of blood. Chicago's last in the East right now. So you got to find a way to build some confidence. And, I don't know how you do it tonight because Dallas is playing well, but Dallas has guys out. Dallas has a lot of guys out tonight. They've got 2 guys out suspended. Pomacall's not playing for them anymore, and yet they're winning without Pomacall. They're winning without Reggie Cannon. They've kind of defied some expectations in how they've done that, but very, very important match tonight because there's going to be a lot of movement above Atlanta United on the table and, potentially some movement below them as well.
Schedule came out yesterday, Mike, for the run-in. What did you think about that release?
Yeah, I don't like having to play Columbus on decision day, especially if you're in the danger zone for making the playoffs. That could be really tough. Now, conversely, you could also be in a situation where Columbus might have everything locked up, even for the Shield, and they could be resting. So that's a double-edged sword. I don't really know what the incentive would be for Columbus to rest, though, because in the East, you're going to have this play-in round before the top seeds start playing. So it's not like Columbus would have if they are the number 1 seed and maybe even the Supporter Shield winner, it's not like they would have an imminent match. But I don't love that draw. I think otherwise, look, I mean, nothing is coming easily for this team this year. And for a team that's won only one of their last 10 matches, this probably sounds a little bit silly. But honestly, this is a relatively manageable scheduling pod. It's not like you have you don't play Philly at all. You don't play New York City at all, which is a team that's given you problems and is playing very well. You don't play Montreal at all. They're playing very well. You don't play New England at all. You have 2 matches against DC, who I think is the worst team in the league right now, worse than Atlanta and Chicago. So you got 2 matches against them. You're going to play Chicago, which we already knew. They're struggling. You're going to play Orlando twice, and Orlando is really good this year, much better than Atlanta United. But Atlanta United still has seemed to find ways to get results against them, especially down in Florida. So I don't think it's really that hard. You do have to play Toronto, but you don't have to go to Canada to play them.
It's a displaced Toronto team playing in Hartford.
In Hartford,
that'll
right?
be interesting.
So I mean, if you have to play Toronto, I guess it's better there than up at BMO Field. So it is what it is. You play Red Bulls. Now they're playing a little bit better since they sacked Armas, but still, not a team that I'm really scared of facing. Cincinnati is a team that nipped you in the tournament, and they're playing better than you as a whole this year. But I don't see like this murderer's row lining up in front of Atlanta United here. If Moreno can come in and make a difference, and maybe Dom gets healthy, and you start to click a little bit from a chemistry and confidence standpoint, I think the fixtures are set up in such a way where you could make a run. But there's a lot of ifs that go into that. And I think a lot of it now is hinging on Marcelino Moreno. And as Carlos said yesterday, when someone asked if he would wear number 10, Carlos said, yeah, but we're kind of, a little bit hesitant on that because you don't want to put a certain degree of pressure and expectation on him by giving him the number 10. It's not like Moreno is going to come here and just instantly make everything better. This is a situation that goes beyond just adding one player. But if he comes in and he makes a positive impact, and if Dom gets healthy and, you continue to see the maturation of Bello and some other players, then yeah. It's not like you've got to repeatedly play Columbus, Philly, Montreal, and even some of the Western Conference teams like SKC, Minnesota, stuff like that. You don't have to worry about, an impossible schedule sitting in front of you.
I hate that this is even coming up about this number 10 shirt being like this. Like, it's turning into something that is very different in how these moves generally happen. I mean, let's go through it really quick, because Marcelino Moreno wore number 10 at Lanús. Like, it's not crazy if he wears the number 10 shirt. I guess, and it's created a bit of a firestorm yesterday, and I think it was really unfair. The whole idea of you can't compare him to Miguel Almiron, but you can, but you can't, but you can, but you can't. It's silly. Like, his playing style, out of players to compare him to that fans would know, and especially when Lanús says, because they tweeted it, saying, hey, you like our number 10s, you like our playmakers, you got one, you got another one. That's accurate. That happened. Mm-hmm. His style of play is most similar to Miguel Almiron. He's not Miguel Almiron, because Miguel is a pretty unique player with his pace. Moreno doesn't have that same pace. Moreno's a better 1v1 player in terms of technique, in terms of skill in tighter spaces. He is a player who is like Miguel Almiron in that neither one scored a lot of goals during their time at Lanús because they played in deeper roles. And will they do that? Will Marcelino do that here? We don't know yet. We don't know if he plays as a 10 like Miguel Almiron did here in front of two midfielders, or if he's playing a little bit deeper and your creativity's coming from wide positions, which is what he did at Lanús. It's turned into something where it's like we're afraid to give somebody a number 10. We're afraid to compare them to a player who came from the same club and played the same position. And Moreno's his own player, Like, he is his own guy. He's coming in with, on the backs of a great season. And he hasn't played since March, so it's going to take him a little bit of time, no matter who he is. But he can come in and help this team straight away. Mm-hmm. Does he fix everything? No, because you still don't have your number 9. You still don't have Joseph Martinez. But does he make this team better? Absolutely he does. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It's not going to make him worse. No, I mean, but it's not even that. I mean, it's not like you're just going to get a random player here. You're going to get a player who was very highly rated in the whole Argentine season last year. Now, that was last year, and that season ended in March, and that's going to make it difficult, but it's almost like the reaction to Pity Martinez, and he was coming in after a great year, and he won an award, and everybody was excited, and he was not that player at the very beginning. I think he was by the end of his time in Atlanta. But now it's a fear of saying that anybody's any good, and it's gone the other way, and it's too much that way. He's a good player, and he will have expectations, and that's okay.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think, unfortunately, for various reasons, you've had, in the last 3 years, 2 very high-profile player signings that, for one reason or another, did not turn into the immediate impact that I think fans were hoping for. And I want to stress the word immediate.
Are you including Barco in that?
Yes, and here.
I don't think there was an immediate expectation on there. That's the only correction I would say. Is I think by now, yes, but immediate. I didn't get that feeling at the time because you had Miguel and Joseph.
Jason. Like I remember being in that parking lot in Chicago in May of 2018 after Barco. He scored against Chicago Fire. Atlanta United won 2-1. And we were in the parking lot listening to the MLSsoccer.com guys talking about how Barco had been a bust up to this point. And, does this finally turn things around? Completely overlooking the fact, by the way, that he, I think, had 2 injuries in the first 2.5 months of him being in Atlanta. And was kind of rushed into a training camp situation at the last minute because, the purchase with Independiente probably took a little bit longer than everyone expected. So it's not so much an Atlanta fan expectation. I think the global expectation for Barco was not aligned with reality at first. So that's just what and with Pitti, kind of the same thing. Like, a lot of people forget that he came to Atlanta. He had an immediate national team call-up and got hurt on the national team call-up. I think before they even played a league match, if I remember correct, or very early in that season, maybe in that window before they went to Columbus and played in the rain.
Well, and Pitti never got a break. I mean, he had his schedule before, then he comes up here. He got no chance to rest before he was put in the Atlanta United lineup.
Yeah, exactly. So this situation, John, is much different now, almost to the extreme opposite, where, as Jason says, Linares has not played since March, but Carlos did point out that Linares is training, and they've been doing so for several weeks. So there's optimism that once you get him up here and through quarantine, that it probably won't take too terribly long to get him into the team. But I want to stress again that it is not as simple as just landing at Hartsfield, driving up to the training ground, and immediately fitting in and fixing everything. These things do take time. And I hope that there's a level of patience with Moreno, because I don't think there was an abundance of patience for Pitti. And maybe not so much here in Atlanta, but I think globally there was not a whole lot of patience afforded to Barco. And I'm hoping that the third time is a charm here.
When you look at other things, and I mentioned the schedule for the run-in, the other thing with MBS that was announced yesterday is that for the last 2 matches, it looks like there's going to be limited fans. I know this will be the same for the Falcons, but limited fans being able to be a part of things in October.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I know, there are a lot of people who are very excited about that. A lot of people are not very excited about that. I can just go from my personal experiences, as I tweeted yesterday, and the 3 of us have all been in the stadium multiple times since everything started in March, and no stone has been left unturned when it comes to creating the safest possible environment for the public. And I think people who, are fortunate enough, to get tickets and elect to go will be very impressed with how they have it set up. But, look, Arthur Blank's not going to make any money by doing this. I don't know what the exact number of fans is that will be allowed. I've heard it could be in the range of, 10 to 20,000. You're not going to make it. This is not any kind of move to recoup any kind of match day revenue or anything like that. This is a way just to hopefully try to re-engage with some of your supporters. So I hope that's considered too. This is not a money grab or anything like that. Now, if you got a home playoff game, I'd be curious to know, would they plan on having limited fans for that? And don't laugh when I say home playoff game, because if you're 7th or 8th, you're going to play at home in that play-in round. So that's a very, very big possibility. But it'll be good to have fans. I know it won't be a ton, but it'll be good to have some fans there. It'll help to make things feel a little bit more normal. And God willing, when we get to March 2021, we'll be in a better position where you can have, more fans. But I know they're going to reach out to season ticket holders next month and kind of go through the process. There's a season ticket holder call tomorrow. As a matter of fact, I know they're going to go through that whole process with everyone. But it'll be good to see some familiar faces back there, no doubt about it.
So what are you thinking about tonight? What worries you about Dallas?
Yeah, really interesting team, right? Like, they're playing extremely well. They've had a very good couple weeks. They're a team also that has really kind of oddly had Atlanta United's number in each of the last 2 years, and beat Atlanta United in very different ways. In 2018, when Luchi Gonzalez was not their manager, it was kind of a wild, wide-open game where they got 2 late goals from Tesho Akindele, and Atlanta United really threw away 3 points in that match. I mean, they really threw it away. Last year, it was with Luchi Gonzalez, it was a very, very tactical match where they got the early goal by Ferreira, the very early goal, and then they bunkered, basically. And that was almost impossible it was impossible for Atlanta United to break down. And that was really at the height of fan frustration when it came to, the early days of the Frank de Boer era. So tonight, without Acosta, without Santos, I don't know if it really changes the plan a whole lot for Luchi Gonzalez. The thing that concerns me about Dallas is that they have defenders that can jump up into the attack. Hollingshead, one of the best defenders in this league at getting into the attack and creating chances and even scoring. And then you have 2 guys who have scored 4 or more goals this year, Mosquera and Harris. So this is going to be a tough match tonight, no doubt about it. I'm really more focused on how Atlanta plays these 90 minutes than what Dallas does. I mean, I could even foresee a situation where Atlanta United could lose this match tonight, but they could play better than they played against, Nashville a week ago Saturday, or even against Miami this past Saturday. What I want to see is stop giving up goals on restarts. And I think there's been some confusion where some people have conflated set pieces and restarts, and they are 2 different things. You got to stop giving up goals on restarts. You got to stop giving up goals on your restarts. And you've got to stop giving up goals in the first 15 minutes. They've done that in 4 of the last 8 matches that they've, conceded the first goal. They've got to stop that. Those are the things I'm looking for tonight. This team was challenged yesterday by their technical director in a big way. And I think Carlos's comments were sadly accurate, that you have 6 or 7 players on this team who were on the 2018 team that won championships, and I guess he was also referring to the 2019 team. You have 6 or 7 players in that group who aren't playing up to the standard that they expect. Someone had to say it. Carlos did. He's not wrong. Let's see how that message is absorbed tonight. I think Atlanta United will come out very fired up. I just don't know, from a standpoint of personnel, what are you going to do if you don't have Barco again tonight? It sounds like Kubo Torres is out for a while. What are you going to do there? Does Tyler Wolff play more now? I even saw a suggestion that John Gallagher might be called upon to play striker, maybe backing up Adam John. Does Manuel Castro suddenly get back into the team now? I don't know. So those are the things I'm looking for tonight. I just want to see focus from Atlanta. And look, if they lose 2-1, but they play well and they look more focused, at this point I'll take that, because I'm just looking for any kind of positives off which they can build, because there is still enough time, even if you lose tonight, to maybe turn this season into something, to salvage something out of it.
And juice boxes, Jason, have changed while Mike has been on with us. Atlanta United is now plus 162, FC Dallas a plus 159. So the numbers are getting closer to each other.
Yeah,
I guess that's
still
the
a home dog.
Yeah, but that's the SDH effect, Mike. You've made people feel better about it.
Yeah, unusual to be a home dog when you're Atlanta United, but I get it. Look, Dallas is in really good form right now. Atlanta United's not. It comes down to that. But things can change really, really quickly. And I think as we've seen against Atlanta United in the last couple of years, teams can come good really quickly. So you never know until you play. You get Barco back tonight, that'd be a big lift. Sounds like he has been training this week, but they want to be careful with him. You get Meza back tonight. I think that could be a big lift if that ends up happening, if you put him back in the starting lineup. I'm trying to be optimistic. I think it'll be a good match because you have two good teams. What I would really, really hate to see is if you give up an early goal and a restart and Dallas bunkers, because they've done that against you before with this group and this manager.
There was one other thing that I had on my mind. Just from the last match, Mike, what's it been like to see John Gallagher continue to grow in comfort?
Love it. Yeah, love it. He's doing great, isn't he? He plays with a fearlessness that I really, really like. For still a relatively young guy, 24, like he feels to me like he's someone who's really, really confident and sure of himself and brave and willing to get stuck into tackles and willing to be a little bit of a pest and be very, very active from end line to end line. So I love what I'm seeing from him. I think he has earned more time because every time we've seen him play, he has made a difference. I do think it's interesting. I saw a suggestion somewhere that he is someone who could play the 9 for you with Kubo Torres out for a while now. I don't know if he's ever played that before.
Yeah, he played it in college.
Okay, I mean, so maybe that could be another option. I just think he makes Atlanta United better when he's out there. You've just got to find a spot for him, and you've got to make it work with everyone else. But very, very encouraged to see his development. I mean, again, the one thing you can say, really the two things you can say about this team is even though they've not had the results that they want, they're fighting. Clearly they are fighting. The effort is there. And that some of your younger players are developing. And that's Bello. And I think that's Gallagher. You're really seeing very positive development from Bello and Gallagher. So these are the bright spots right now. But I think Gallagher is only going to get better with more games. So I hope they find a way to make it work. Remember, you're playing again on Sunday. Mm-hmm. So this is 3 matches in 9 days. You're going to have to try to rotate somewhat. I don't know if you rotate tonight with an eye on, you're playing a lesser opponent even though they're on the road on Sunday, or maybe it's the reverse where, you go all in tonight because it's a home game and then maybe you kind of roll the dice in Chicago. But you're going to have to rotate at some point. And I hope they find a way as they do that rotation to continue to get Gallagher more games.
All right, tell everybody what our plans are the rest of the day.
Got stoppage time at 2 on the 92.9 The Game Facebook page, and then we're on at 6:30 from the Benz on radio.com and 92.9 The Game.
All right. Well, I'll see you at stoppage time. We'll get deeper into some of the players on both sides to watch a little bit of the tactics as we get into Dallas and Atlanta tonight, and we'll even look ahead to the weekend as well.
Okay. Sounds good, guys. Take care.
Cool. Thanks,
Mike.
Mike. Make sure you're following him, Mike Conti 929 on Twitter. Keep up with all of the stats out there, and also make sure that you sign up for our trivia night tomorrow night to benefit soccer in the streets. Go to @SoccerStreets on all your social media platforms, a link to sign up. All you got to do to play is make a donation. Any donation you can afford to support soccer in the streets and their meal delivery program to kids and families who are in need right now. That's why we're doing this. And whatever you can do to help, please do so. The trivia will be fun. I've already seen Mike's questions. He's got some interesting ones. I had to fact check at least one of them because it surprised me a bit. So we'll get into all of that tomorrow. That'll start at about 7:30. I know there's a lot of people who will probably be on the season ticket holder call with Atlanta United. That's going to run until 7. we're given a little bit of a buffer time, so we're going to actually start the trivia at 7:30. I'll be on at 7, so we'll talk shop, talk soccer for a little while until we get into the trivia closer to 7:30. So hopefully you guys can join us for that. Let's see if Mateo can get Doug Robertson on the line so he can join us right now to talk a little bit of Atlanta United and Dallas.
Come on, Mateo.
Mateo's working today. He's done pretty good so far, and we will see if he can connect with our friend Doug.
Okay. For the record, I just gave my donation to Trivia Night.
Good stuff. You can allow someone to play in your stead unless you want to join us and actually have some fun tomorrow.
I will be in Franklin, Georgia. Oh, wait, no, that's Friday. Thursday. I will anoint. Sorry, my days are getting all blended together.
Why don't you anoint Doug and let Doug play trivia with us tomorrow night for Soccer in the
Doug,
Streets?
play trivia with us tomorrow night and do it on my behalf.
Hey guys, please tell me again what time and how I can join trivia.
Yes, we will get that sorted out this time because that was out of my control last time.
No. I'm giving you an opportunity to once again promote how to do it.
You can
For all your
go.
listeners.
Okay, you can go visit Soccer in the Streets on social media platforms at Soccer Streets. I think that is the same everywhere. There's a link to sign up. You make a donation to play. The donation will go to meal delivery programs that they are doing for kids and families in need right now. Any donation gets you into play. You will get a link to join us on Zoom, and you will get when you're on Zoom with us, you will get a key to insert into your Kahoot program and your Kahoot app because that's how you actually answer the questions.
See, that information right there is so much more valuable than anything I will ever say in the next 10 minutes.
I don't know. It depends on how many people actually make donations. We'll see. We hope so.
Wait, are you on
Hopefully
the golf course right now, Doug?
I am at the golf course right now. I'm just kind of
Sweet.
sitting here on the patio. Beautiful morning. Kind of enjoying a nice crisp morning.
So,
Yeah.
are you at the turn, or are you waiting, or what?
No, I haven't even gone out yet. I still got to go hit balls where I'm a driving range pro before I go out on the course and become
Ranger Rick, right there with you.
the history of sports.
Nice. What are you thinking about tonight and Dallas coming to town? They've been pretty good lately, and they will be missing a couple of holding midfielders, though, so I'm curious to see what their lineup looks like.
They are a quality team. They are a young team. They are kind of what I think, in some ways, Atlanta United hopes to kind of be and do, kind of what's being forced to do right now with plug-in young players after you sell other players. I don't know if Atlanta United wants to do it as much as Dallas is doing it. But they are playing well. They are confident, which is what Atlanta United needs, I think, right now. It's what Carlos Bocanegra said yesterday. They have a little bit of a swagger to them, particularly in their front three. So Atlanta United has got to be on its toes and not keep making the same mistakes that it keeps making if it hopes to get any kind of positive result tonight.
Well, and they're also, obviously with 3 matches in 9 days, Doug, for Atlanta United, you're looking at some guys doing, some guys will play 90, some guys may not. Obviously this is something that folks have to kind of keep an eye on here in this stretch before we go into the run-in. When you look at the back four separately, you mentioned the firepower for FC Dallas up top. What's been your impression of the back four in its most solid form with Bello, Walks, Miles, and Escobar? What do you think about that matchup in particular?
Well, the back four have, at times they look really, really solid, and then at times, particularly on dead balls, somebody switches off, and it only takes one of the four, or one of the five if you count the defensive midfielders, and that mistake is being punished time and time again. I thought Miles Robinson looked more like the Miles Robinson of last year in this previous game. He looked faster, he looked quicker, he looked a little more decisive, I think, than in previous games. Bellows' defense has been markedly improved since Orlando. Brooks Lennon is going to give you a good shift, I think. I know he made a few mistakes in that last game, but I think he was also probably running on fumes at that point. But again, Dallas's front three is good. They're quick on the counter. They're good on the set piece. As I said before, Atlanta United, particularly Robinson, and if it's Meza or Walks, I don't know who's going to start in the middle. You got to think Mesa's going to get a run out here for one of those two guys. They've got to be locked on the whole time, or they can't give up another early goal. They just can't.
What are your takeaways from everything that happened yesterday? Because it felt like it was a lot with Marcelino Moreno being announced, with Cubo Torres' injury being announced. There was a lot to take in.
Those are the kind of days that are fun for me because I'm getting to work a lot, and I enjoy working.
How many articles did you write yesterday?
72
or so. Yeah, so we didn't know about Torres' injury. Carlos Bocanegra during his first availability in a couple of months. So thanks to the team for making that happen, for Carlos to agree into it. Gave us that bit of information about Eric Torres with a sprained knee and likely out for the remainder of the season, the regular season. So that was big news. Then we had the schedule coming out, and I know Atlanta United is not playing well, but the schedule, I thought it was much easier than it could have been for the team. I'm still not quite sure why. Well, I think I know why they're having to play Orlando and Miami again and not playing Philadelphia and those guys. I think Orlando and Miami, the travel restrictions by the league are such that they just can't go too far away. And the closest common opponent for both is Atlanta United. So that's who they keep getting stuck playing over and over and over again. The Moreno signing, I think, is going to be good. I think it's like with Eric Lopez, who again is not joining the senior team this season. People need to relax a little bit, not put so much pressure and expect too much, and really look toward next year to see how he's going to do. It's just too much to ask somebody to come in who has not played a game in what is it now, Jason? 7 months, 8 months?
Yeah, like I think he came off the bench back in like December. I think the last time he started was in January, February with the U23s.
Yeah, he's just not going to be able to do too much. He may surprise you and have like a burst, but consistency that's going to be next season. But I think he's going to be a good player. I love his highlights. I like some of the same things that Carlos said, both in the video produced by the team and in the call yesterday. He's aggressive. He can split lines. He's got a little bit of swagger to him, which the team needs right now. I'm curious how it's going to affect the rest of the personnel on the team. But that's for next year. And then what else did we have yesterday?
Fans coming into the building in late October?
Oh, yeah. A few spectators are going to be allowed in the Mercedes-Benz. They haven't said how many yet. I'm happy for those who are going to get to go. In terms of the atmosphere and things, I'm really not sure it's going to make that big of a difference to any results or anything, because it's, having covered Georgia State for its first, like its second, third, and fourth year in the Georgia Dome, that few fans, it just can't make that much noise in a big building. It just doesn't happen. But anyway, yeah, big news day.
When you look at bright spots, let me ask you about bright spots going forward here for the remainder of the season. Bright spots for Atlanta United. Where have you noticed them this season from your perspective about bright spots for the team as they get ready for, as you mentioned, a favorable run-in when it comes to the remainder of the schedule here in 2020?
Well, it's kind of the same we talked about last week. George Bello has been a bright spot. Brooks Lennon is going to give, a good shift. He's not going to score too many goals, and right now, without Martinez, and I guess you could even say without Torres, even though he hasn't scored, he's not going to get a whole lot of assists, I don't think, which is unfortunate because he does work hard. And it's really difficult to find another. I guess long term, you could say that if Atlanta United can apply lessons and lumps that it's taking this year to next year, and kind of relearn about focus for 90 minutes, which has been a theme of Jeff Lernowitz for the past three plus seasons now, then that's going to be the best thing they can take from this season. I would be surprised if this team makes the playoffs simply because of injuries and form and everything. It's not improbable but right now it would be surprising based upon recent runs and injuries. So that would be the biggest bright spot to take from this season.
All right, before we get into predictions, I got to ask you how you felt about your Liverpool squad with their win over Chelsea.
Plucky upstart.
And Thiago's debut.
That was a good win. They were helped a lot by Kepa.
There was that.
Totally lost his
And the red card. They got some help.
Yeah, totally lost his confidence, it looks like. But 3 points is 3 points. Of course, everyone's chasing Everton right now, which is an odd thing to say.
Thomas, baby.
But no, and Thiago, I guess, means the end of Wijnaldum in the midfield, and I hate that because Wijnaldum has been a very, very good player for Liverpool. But I think he kind of wants out and maybe goes somewhere else. And I'm curious to see if some of the new faces that they've signed are going to get a little bit more run. The left fullback they signed. I'm curious about Thiago in a starting shift, and Jota. Curious about him coming in too.
You got Arsenal on Monday night.
Oh, that's 3 points.
Wow.
Right now you're to minus 200 according to Juicebox. It's going up against Arsenal, for the record.
Okay.
Talking trash, confident, plucky upstarts, Liverpool.
Yes.
All right, let's get into some predictions for tonight. I don't know if we've had the rest of the crew chime in. Kelly Francis went with a 1-1 last night on the run-up. John, what did you go with?
The Velvet driving slipper lock of the week, 2-1 Atlanta United. Barco and Gallagher, and Dallas gets one off a set piece.
You're optimistic. You're optimistic about Barco playing, too.
Yes.
Because I have no idea if that's going to happen. I don't know what this lineup looks like tonight, so this is a tough one to predict. Doug, take a shot at it.
I'll be stunned if Barco plays tonight. But that's neither here nor there. I think Dallas wins 2-0 tonight.
Okay.
I hate to keep picking Atlanta United to lose, but they have Adam John, and I guess Wolf is going to maybe start if they do kind of a two-striker system. And, it's just hard to see the team scoring right now. And that's an odd thing for me to say, and I don't like saying it, but it's kind of the truth.
I think it's going to be 1-1. This team, if they can just eliminate the switching off on set pieces, dead ball situations, throw-ins, corner kicks, free kicks, your own ones and your defending ones. If you eliminate that, this is a very different set of results. You're still not scoring a lot.
We keep saying that every week, and it just doesn't happen.
I know, but it's like such a thing that teams do, and it just blows my mind that it keeps happening here in new ways, and you're finding a new type of set piece or dead ball or whatever to concede a goal on. I don't know what's left outside of a drop ball. I think that's where we're down
I was about to say, the only thing left is a drop ball that I know of.
Yeah.
Or the opponent scores off of your penalty kick. Something like that.
Yeah, that's one that has not been hit yet on the bingo board. The drop ball has not been hit yet. Everything else has. I think even your own goal kick. I know a free kick from inside the area, the Orlando one where Brooks Lennon was off the field, but that was a free kick. That wasn't a goal kick. Mm-hmm. Maybe your own goal kick. You haven't conceded yet. If they could just stop that, they'll get results. And it has to happen at some point, just out of sheer luck at this point.
You would think.
I'm going 1-1. I am the eternal optimist, and I think that Adam John will find himself a goal, and I think Dallas will get one through Mosquera. He's the one who worries me a lot out wide, playing in really good form right now. Haro will occupy the back line a good bit, but Mosquera is the dangerous one for me out of Dallas. So 1-1's my prediction. Doug, what else do you have the rest of the day after you get off the golf course?
Well, I just posted the kind of a blog look about the importance of this Moreno signing for Bocanegra and, kind of improving the confidence in some of the team supporters who are down on him and his personnel acquisitions and plan right now. And then tonight I'll have the game story. It'll post as soon as that final whistle is blown. So don't go to bed until you read the story, please. And then hopefully we'll have a Southern Fried Soccer. You can find both on my Twitter feed at Doug Robertson AJC. And then hopefully we'll have some interesting elements from this game to write about, and I'll post those either tonight or tomorrow morning.
All right. Well, we'll be talking to you on Friday as we get ready for a match on Sunday, because they're going to be coming fast and furious the rest of the way. Thanks for joining us, Doug. Hopefully you hit them straight.
Fairways and greens.
Thanks, guys. We'll talk to y'all later.
Yep.
Be good.
Make sure you're following him, Doug Robertson, AJC, on Twitter, Atlanta United News Now on Facebook. Let's get into the Twitter questions of the day. We got about 15 minutes to wrap everything up. So what do we have on the Twitters?
Okay, real quick. Jared says 2-1 FC Dallas. Atlanta will create chances, but he's still worried about the switching off in transition, which killed him last year against Dallas. Still waiting for Nick. Chris Hutchison says FCD 3-1. But he has a question. He says, what's the over-under on the time before Dallas's first goal tonight? Based on the last 2 games, I'm going with 5 minutes. I'd also be willing to bet that Escobar gets a yellow and misses the next game. He's the designated LGP on this team now.
Oh, no, he just didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Man. Chris, you're killing me today. Franco will probably pick up a card because, it's a safer bet to say he's going to get a card as opposed to him not getting a card. That's just kind of how it's gone. The crazy thing is, it's like he's played better after he gets a card. It's somehow it calms him down. I mean, can we create a ceremonial yellow card from the bench that doesn't really count, that he thinks he got a yellow card and it affects the way he plays? Because after he picks up a yellow, he's outstanding. Yeah. It's crazy. I just hope he's switched on. I hope they don't concede early. They can't concede early. It's just been brutal for this team to give up early goals when they have no confidence in their attack right now, and they give up an early goal, and they know they're not scoring goals very much, and there you go. Now, a couple things in this one. Dallas has been not so great at the beginning of halves, but they've been great at the end of halves. They've scored 7 goals in the final 15 minutes of halves. They have conceded 8 goals out of their 12 in the second half. They're like most teams. They win when they score first, and they have not won when they concede first. That's pretty consistent around the league. On the Atlanta side with that, they've scored 7 of their 12 goals in the first half, and they've scored 6 of 12 in the final 15 minutes of halves. So Atlanta's been good at the end of halves as well. This is the part that's just scary. They've conceded 5 goals in the first 15 minutes this season, 9 goals in the first 30 minutes, 13 goals in the first half, and only 4 goals in the second half. That's second best in MLS.
Wow.
4 goals in the second half. But when you're conceding 13 in the first half, 9 in the first 30, doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. So you got to get to halftime without conceding a goal.
Yep.
If Atlanta gets to halftime without conceding a goal, they will get a result tonight. That is the lock of the week, and I don't have a driving shoe, slipper, what have you, velvet, any of that. That's a Kangol lock of the week.
Use the Kangol.
A newsboy cap of the week. If you get to halftime without conceding, you get a result. How about that?
There you go.
Okay, what else we got on Twitter?
Nathan Pugh is requesting that Doug actually say the left back's name for Liverpool in his conversation with us.
Well, he's gone, so he can't.
Yeah, and a lot of folks have been commenting on the stadium being opened back up, and they're having conversations with each other.
Look, there's people who are excited and will go, and there's people who don't feel comfortable and won't go. That's an individual decision. You know, I don't think because people feel comfortable and they would not go that should be enough reason to not open it at all. I don't know if that's necessarily fair. And I'll tell you what's kind of changed the way that I'm looking at this and what's frustrating in a lot of ways. When I leave either Fifth Third or the Benz and I'm driving home after a game that was in an empty venue because you didn't have anybody in for the safety reasons, and then you drive down the street and there's a bar or a club that's packed and people are outside and hardly anybody's wearing a mask, and it's just like, well, why are you, if like, I don't know what works here, because if people are going to go out and make that decision, it's not just sports that they're going to go out for. People are making that decision for themselves, period. And while Mike's 100% right in saying, like, you're not going to make a bunch of money off this. You're not going to flip your financials off of having, 15, 17, 20,000 people in the building, because you're going to be spending probably the same or more in terms of your staffing and your game day costs because of the increased level of protocol that you're going to have. You're not going to make a bunch of money. I don't think you're going to lose as much by having it. I don't know if it's going to come. It's not going to be a cost drainer to have people in. Maybe it limits some of the losses. But if things are not going to be shut down and other places are going to be open, I don't know how teams don't. And that's what stinks about the whole thing, because this should have been handled differently at the very beginning. And it wasn't, and we are where we are. None of that's going to change with whether MLS or NFL or anybody else allows people in the building or not. It's gone way past that. And that's a shame. And that's something that we all have to be careful about and be smart about. And if there is any concern, any health reasons why it would be a risk to go, don't go. If you don't feel well, don't go. Like, be smart about it. And also, if you are going to go, you're going to be well protected. You're going to be taken care of. And that's something that the stadium has done an amazing job with. But if you have any concerns, don't go. Don't go. I mean, it's just that simple. Like, I kind of gave up on the agencies that we normally think of that would help us deal with these things. I gave up on that. You got to do what's right for you, and you got to take care of you and the people around you and make those decisions. I've been more careful in the last few months than I was before, and I was careful before because I'm interacting with more people in the last few months. I'm calling games next to John. I'm calling games next to Mike. Miller Pope's in the booth and the radio side. I'm going to be around more people, so I'm being more careful. I'm rarely going to the store.
Yeah.
I'm ordering more delivery of groceries, ordering whatever I can order. That's my choice for what my life is. But you can be safe and go out and do things. I'm just limiting the risk because I'm thinking about the people around me. That's just me. It's if places are going to be open, it's hard to say that the stadium should not be. It really is. And we should have handled it better to where we'd be having a different conversation at this point. We didn't, so we've got to make best of what the current situation is. And it's just, there's no correct answers in any of it, in my opinion.
I think
Uncle No Pockets with a really good point here, and this is an absolute credit to the stadium staff. The stadium will be responsible. I would be blown away if you have some of the problems that we've seen in other venues where people are allowed to not wear masks, are allowed to gather, and those kind of things happen. That's the stadium has done a great job with everything that we've done there over the last few months, whether it's going in to call the away games, whether it's calling the home games, any of it. They've done a great job. They will be responsible, and Uncle's right. Bars who aren't practicing proper measures, clubs who aren't practicing it, other venues who aren't practicing it, that's a different conversation. The stadiums will. At least I can speak for Mercedes-Benz pretty well, I think, here. Mercedes-Benz Stadium will be erring on the side of caution. No question about it. Yep. Other places probably don't. And from pictures we see around the country, there's plenty who don't.
Fantasy before we go.
Yes, let's get into MLS Fantasy before we wrap up. We did not get there yet. I think Ricky Ricardo was putting together his lineup so he can share it with us in the chat if he's still with us, and he is still with us. Let me get mine here.
All right, well, you're getting yours. I'll tell you mine.
Yeah, I had to update mine. Hold on one second. I'll have it in 1 second, and we'll go through it.
Because I was over budget again.
Yeah, stop complaining. Like, seriously, stop complaining about that. It's better that way instead of just being able to keep players forever and not worry about any of that. No, this is better. Stop. Why are you complaining? You're going to complain about double match weeks next, aren't you?
Yeah, I am.
What are you going to complain about with that? Go ahead.
Just the idea that I want all the points if it's a double match week. But since everybody's in a double match week this week, it kind of neutralizes itself out.
Well, Lottie frickin' da!
Mm-hmm. All right. Who you got in goal?
Willis.
Okay.
For the game against DC.
Okay. I went Jensen, and I went with Jensen for the game against Montreal. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to stick with that, but that's where I'm at the moment. I've got Richie on the bench because Cincinnati likes to not concede many goals, so he might get in there, actually.
Yeah,
Backline.
Brad on the bench.
Who? What?
I've got Brad on the bench for the Chicago match.
Okay. But you're only going to play one. Like, I just haven't decided which one I'm going to start yet.
I know. I'm debating. Like I said, Joe, I've got Willis because of the DC match, and that's where I'm leaning.
Ricky has Blake in goal on his fantasy team. Back
Cincinnati,
line.
Miami. Yeah.
Who you got on the back line?
Glesnes, Mensah, Romney, Valenzuela.
Oh, you're going with 4. I got none of those. I got Jovan Jones. I got Minor Figueroa. And I've got Sam Vines as one of my more budget-conscious picks. Vines has been doing pretty well as of late with Colorado. Ricky has Butner. What's his name for Montreal, our Frenchman?
ZBG.
ZBG, Zachary Broguillard. Something like that. Sorry. And Walker Zimmerman.
Yeah, Broguillard. Yeah.
Broguillard. I was close. Man, the
ZBG.
French. It's like the Latin, the Italian, the Spanish. Okay, fine. French. Midfield. Ricky's got Valeri, Ladero, Pozuelo, Reynoso. Who you got?
Okay. Ladero, captained. Pozuelo, Mukhtar, Blessing.
I got Pozuelo and Valeri. I got Dax McCarty, who has been productive and gets DC. And I've got Mosquera, because I think Mosquera is going to have one good game out of the 2 this week with Atlanta and Orlando on the board, and he was a value pick. The reason I wanted value there is I went big time up top with 3, with Jordan Morris, Casper Shabilko, and Jossie Zardes, and Jossie Zardes is my captain.
There you go. I've got Morris and DK, and I've got...
when was the last time Daryl DK did anything, John?
He's at 4.8. I'll take it.
So you don't care that he actually does anything?
I may swap out Matricia for DK and put him in the lineup.
Okay. Ricky's got Rossi, Eber, and Raul Ruiz-Diaz.
So I anticipate that Ricky will do far better than I will.
You always say that, and then when we look at the actual numbers, you do okay. So you're going to have to drop that gimmick.
Nope.
No, stop. Drop the gimmick.
Nope.
Yes, drop the gimmick.
No.
It's nonsense.
No, I'm second in the Pro Rel League right now, and I'm 19th in the Open League. I have to continue the gimmick.
No, drop the gimmick. It's nonsense. I'm catching up on you in the Open League. I was 5th last week. I had a pretty good week. I'm 25th overall. I had a horrendous start to the season that I'm trying to make up for.
Correct. I was 23rd last week, 19th overall, second in the Pro Rel League, going up against Black Star FC this week.
All right. Well, good luck with that. Hopefully that helps you with your fantasy picks. Thanks for hanging out, Captain Ragamuffin. Sorry you don't like the fantasy soccer. We apologize. We are going to do something, and I'm trying to figure out the mechanism to do this. We are going to do some kind of a global fantasy soccer-ish thing that will be SDH related and be fun, where you can pick players from anywhere in the world and you'll get your points monthly. I'm almost there. I'm almost there. We'll try to roll it out before next month starts. It might be rolled out for the November start period, but we'll get it figured out. It's going to be fun. Burned, I will work on the French alphabet. That's what's thrown me, absolutely, because vowel pronunciation in Spanish was what I had to get my head around to feel more comfortable with it. And once I did, I'm okay with it. French, it's the way that the letters work that throws me off. If you guys haven't seen it, we've pinned it on our Twitter account, the Marcelino Moreno Bienvenido scarf. We will be donating all the proceeds from that to the soccer school that bears his name at Atletico Palmira, which is the club where he got started and stayed until he was about 16. The school that bears his name is for 4 to 8-year-olds, and it is a very small club that plays in the regional league, and he's become the idol and the role model for those kids, and this is a club that's going to benefit from this transfer because of the solidarity payments. We're going to try to help a little bit more with that, and specifically for the kids. The club is on board with it. They're excited. Lots of Argentine media was on board with it. It was very cool to see their response to it. It was very, very cool to see the response from all of you guys who have already bought scarves, which is awesome. Yes. We had our biggest first day with any scarf release that we've ever done. We ordered 100 scarves. That's more than we usually order. We're going to sell these scarves to make sure we maximize this donation to Atletico Palmira. That is the plan. So please spread the word if you listen.
Yes.
That is pinned on our Twitter. We also posted it on Facebook as well. Please spread the word to people you know who are Atlanta United fans. We want to make this as big as possible and welcome him in a big way, but also support something that's important to him and something that's important to just the game as a whole. We want to give more kids an opportunity to play. So if you can please share that. If you're interested, send us a message. We'll get you taken care of. We did really well yesterday. We still have a good number of scarves to sell, and we need your help to do that and make this all work. So,
amen.
Thanks, y'all. We appreciate it. John's got things to do. I've got stoppage time coming up at 2. We're on the air at 6:30. You guys are on the air at 7:30 with Atlanta United 2. If you can watch on both screens and the radio, please do. It's a lot of things to do at once. You're going to have to pick something to mute, but keep up with everything going on. We'll talk about all of it tomorrow morning. Y'all have a good rest of the day. Mucha plata, y'all.
Mucha plata, y'all.